Hello. In this video, we will do a demonstration of the file submission functionality and what has changed as a result of the file submission redesign release. At this time, please pause this video for a few minutes and read through the summary of changes on this slide. We will cover these in much more detail in the midst of our live demonstration. All right, so we're in the file upload screen, and I'm going to quickly demo the file upload process and some of the new changes you will notice as you go through this functionality. So before I start uploading my files, I just want to go over a couple of important changes that you will notice on the screen. One of the first changes that I want to touch on is that you can now upload multiple files at a time, regardless of their sort or order. However, there are a couple of nuances that you should make a note of. First, you should always upload and post your SCNR or student enrollment file and establish ownership of the students by obtaining SSIDs where necessary and enrolling the students in your LEA in CALPADS. The second change that I want to talk about is that when there are interdependencies between files, you should always include them in the same group of files that you're uploading. As an example, for Fall 2, there are cross-file validations between the course section enrollment and student course section enrollment. Therefore, you would want to upload them together when possible. And the same would be true for staff assignment and demographics, right? Although, again, the order of which you select your files to upload in that group is irrelevant and can be in any order. The reason for this is to avoid those confusing validation errors that are produced when dependent records are missing for a specific file. So let's go ahead and now upload some sample files. And I've chosen to upload some files that are related to Fall 2. So as you can see, I've selected 4 files, and these are related to Fall 2. And notice that the order of how I have selected these files is not very important, right? They're out of order, but at the same time, I've selected these files because there are interdependencies between them, and I've included them in the same group of files that I'm uploading, just to avoid some of those confusing cross-file validations that happens a little bit later on. Okay, so we're going to click on upload files to upload these. And as you can see, we are brought to the view submission screen, and I have a file upload successful message in the upper left corner of my screen. And you will notice if we scroll down to the results section of the page, the files have been put in queue. So they're in the created status, and they're just waiting to be processed. So I should mention that one other change you will notice, now there are a minimum set of validations that are initially applied to your files just to get them through and get them posted in the ODS. And there are additional validations that will happen after the post. And you will become aware of any additional validation, fatal errors, or warnings in another module that is new, which is the data discrepancy functionality that is newly introduced in CALPADS. So let's talk a little bit about a few more changes that you will notice on this screen. One of them, in the results section, some of the columns are no longer available. Specifically, the archive column has been removed, and you're no longer able to archive any file transactions. So that column used to be all the way at the end here, which is no longer available. The available end and snapshot date and time columns have also been removed. The other change that I want to mention is that once all the records in a file pass the initial set of validations, the system will automatically post that file to the ODS. So in other words, manual and partial posts are no longer available for the user. The post process is completely automatic now. Okay, these changes are all to streamline the file upload process and posting. I should also mention that an entire file is rejected if one or more records in that file have failed validation, regardless if any records have passed. So this means that when you have errors, the rejected records have to be corrected in your SIS, and a new file must be resubmitted. Again, this is because partial or manual posting is no longer available. You will also notice that the file statuses have changed a little bit, and we will have a slide with the list of the latest statuses and their descriptions. These are the latest file submission statuses. At this time, you may pause the video and read through the details of each status so you can become familiar with each. This will help you when you're checking the status of your file while it's being processed in CALPADS. So I just clicked on the refresh button in my browser just to see if any of the statuses have changed. And looks like they have. Some of my files got rejected and one was passed and posted successfully. So let's look at our past records first and see what information is available for us, right? So we can see from here that the file had 4 records, all of them passed and posted successfully. So if we click on the view button next to that, it should take us to the view submission details screen. So we can find a little bit more information about these posted records here. But if you remember in the legacy system, there used to be another tab in the second part of the screen next to the view errors tab. That tab is no longer available. That is because the post process is automatic now, and you no longer have access to the records to review them and manually post them. However, you will have visibility of your records in your reports and extracts and other parts of the system, which will be discussed in other trainings. But I think it is safe to assume the records in the extract from the CIS has been posted if the job was not rejected. So let's go back to our view submission screen. Okay, so let's take a look at a file that was rejected. And I should mention here, a couple of my files, they had both past records and records that had errors. But notice that the entire file was rejected. That's because partial posting is no longer available, right? So let's look at our CSIS file and find out what the rejected records look like. So I've clicked on the view button, and here we are. So on the view submission details screen, under the view errors tab, you will notice there's still that error summary section. And this is where you will see a list of all the different errors that you may get for a file. And also notice that the error code itself is clickable still. So if you click on it, it does take you to the user manual where the system provides you more detailed information about that specific error that you're getting. So if we go back here, right below the error summary section, you have file errors filter. And the results of that selection or whatever you have selected here in the error summary section is displayed in the bottom here. This is where you'll see the details of the error, right, for those specific records. And if you click on the view button next to a record, a modal window opens up. And in the modal window, you will notice a few changes on the top related to this error. So we get the error code. You also are given the local record ID and the record type, as well as the seed and SSID number. So depending on what the error is related to, if it is a seed, the seed is given to you. If it is the SSID, that is given to you. And on the right side, there is some additional information about the specific error that you're getting, right? And below that is obviously the details of that record. So you can review this and figure out what the issue may have been. Go back to your SIS, make that correction, along with all the other errors that you need to clean up and correct, and then resubmit your file so it can be posted. And that is all I wanted to say about the file submission. Hopefully, I've given you a little bit of a background on these new changes that you will notice. And if you come across any questions that you may have for us, please submit a support ticket and we will be more than happy to assist you. Thank you.